What's going on, everybody? Here of Time here, and today I'm going to be showing you how to build Lyney, how to build his weapons, artifacts, all that kind of stuff. And real quick, I do apologize, this video is a bit later than I would want it to be, because I had to spend quite a bit of time building Lyney the way I kind of want him to be, you know, his artifacts and everything, to be good enough to be able to showcase him. And I think I've gotten pretty nice now. I've gotten a level 80, not quite 90, but hopefully he'll be good enough. And also, I had a bit of a sickness. I'm still trying to get over a bit, but I'm pretty much feeling better, so I apologize. It's been a while since I've posted the video, and it took this long to get this guy out, but yeah, let's go ahead and get into it. So first off, I'm going to start off with the talents. So obviously, Lyney is a Pyro bow DPS character, and I believe he's only the third Pyro bow DPS user. The first one is Amber, second one is Yoimiya, and then the third one is, of course, Lyney. I could be wrong. Somebody correct me if I'm wrong. Maybe there's somebody I'm forgetting about, but I'm pretty sure there's only 3. So, he's a Pyro bow DPS user. So, he's got 2 levels of his charge shot. So, he's got the first one, and then that's just a charged Pyro arrow. And then there's a second version. And normally this will consume HP. I think I'm a bit too low on health to show it right now. But he will consume HP. And this little hat thing, little mascot thing here will come out, and he will shoot arrows with you. Or he will shoot with you when you shoot pyro arrows, and it will deal damage. And you'll get these stacks of prop surplus, and I think you get up to like 5 stacks. And basically, I think it consumes more health, and then it does more damage, I believe, if I'm not mistaken. I'm pretty sure that's what the stacks do. They'll do more damage and everything, and the more stacks, the more damage pretty much you'll do. And then your skill will kind of be a complement to this. After you lose the HP with the surplus stacks or whatever, you can use your skill, and it'll get health back. Obviously, I won't right now because I am not attacking anything, and I didn't lose HP. But normally, when you're attacking enemies with that, it will deal quite a bit of pyro damage, and it will heal you. So, if you're in Spiral Abyss, you're getting quite low on health, and you shot some surplus arrows, you can use your skill and get some health back, as well as doing quite a bit of damage. Also, I forgot to mention the damage that you'll be doing through the hat malkin things. The little mascot thing comes out when you shoot your second level of the charge shot. It will be counted as charged attack damage, so make sure that you level up your normal attack for your charged attack. I mean, most people do that anyways, but just remember that. And then your burst, you'll turn into a Gren Malkin cat, and you'll walk around and deal damage as you walk by enemies. And then you can press your skill button, which is right trigger for me on controller, and you'll explode and deal a bunch of damage too. So it's basically just a way to get a ton of damage off, and you can kill a lot of things like this in Spiral Abyss when you're in a pinch and you're fighting close range stuff, such as like Ruin Guards or whatever. You can use that instead of having to charge your shot up and then risking your charge shot canceled by getting attacked. So it just deals a bunch of damage. It's kind of an AoE attack, as long as there's enemies nearby you when you blow it up. So yeah, that's what your burst does. So for your first passive talent, this has to do with you shooting off the prop arrows. So when you hit an opponent with the prop arrow and your hat malkin hits it, it will restore 3 energy to Lyney, and you will increase your damage dealt by 80% of his attack. So attack is something that you're going to be wanting to get. So if you have any weapons that have attack percent, if you're not going for a crit weapon, that is, if you have a Sans, make sure your Sans is attack percent. I'll talk more about that later. Anyways, this passive talent is fueled by your attack percent. So make sure you have quite a bit of attack percent. And of course, the energy is good too, to get energy for your burst. And then your second passive talent, this is kind of where you will form your team around Lyney with. The damage Lyney deals to opponents affected by Pyro will receive the following buffs. You will increase the damage dealt by 60% with Pyro, and then each Pyro party member other than Lyney will cause the damage dealt to increase by an additional 20% with that 60%. So it will increase that 60% by 20% with each Pyro character, which means you will have 3 Pyro characters in total that will get you to the max of 100% that you can get. So Lyney would be 60%, and then each character after that would be 20% extra. So 60% with Lyney. And then I have 2 other Pyro characters, Zhongling and Bennett. So Bennett, that'll be an extra 20%. That'll be 80% extra damage. And then Zhongling, that's another 20%. So that'll be 100% increased damage to opponents affected by Pyro. So if you want to get the max amount of damage with the amount of Pyro characters, you'll need 3 Pyro characters to get the max amount. So I highly recommend getting 3 Pyro characters in your team, and then the last slot can be like a flex slot. Like I have a buffer, I have Kaza, which buffs my damage, and of course swirls and everything, does damage as well. So anybody like that, like Mona and stuff. And again, I'll go more on that in the future when I talk about the team comps and everything. But that's your second passive talent, very important to have, and it makes you deal a lot more damage with Lyney and your other Pyro characters. And then, of course, Lyney, being the first 5-star character in Fontaine, will give you the resources unique to Fontaine on your map. So it'll help you get your resources to level up Lyney and any other Fontaine character, like Lynette, or the future characters coming out, like Fiorina, all that kind of stuff. So that's very useful to have for getting your resources as well. So I highly recommend stocking up on resources for future characters coming out like Fiorina and Marechaussee, people like that, just in case you might want them. So yeah, that's it for the talents. And real quick before I am done, I don't think the talent references... Okay, yeah, statistics are still being tabulated here. But what I would recommend to level up first is definitely the normal attack. That's your #1 priority. That's where a lot of your damage is coming from. Then the second thing I would say level up is honestly your burst, because your burst does a ton of damage, especially if you've got buffs, like you've got Bennett's Field and you got Kazuha's buff. Especially if you've got that stuff, level up your burst to get a ton of damage off. And the skill can be third, because it does do damage too, but I would say normal attack is most important and the burst is second most important. Most sites, when you look at it says the normal attack is most important, and the second thing to level up is the skill, and the third thing is burst, but I disagree. I think the burst, you should level up right after normal attack, just because the massive amount of damage it can give you. So yeah, that's it for the talents. Alright, so we're in Inazuma like normal. I'm going to share the playstyle in Inazuma with Masanori. So, here we go. And also something I forgot to mention about the talents real quick. Actually, for his prop arrow, you can only get the surplus stacks when you were above 60% HP. And you can only drop to 60% of your max HP with Lyney when you do that. So, just keep that in mind. That being said, I'm going to try to show him off the best I can. I'll get my buffs first. As you can see, here are my arrows, and you can see me getting the surplus stacks on the left. And then now this would get rid of my surplus stacks, and it will heal me, as you can see. Now let me see if I can get my buffs real quick. And of course, I'll show you the maximum amount of damage he can do in the showcase. But here's his burst. You can see he does damage as you walk around, and then you can blow him up. It does a ton of damage. As you can see, I did 80,000 damage for that, so it can deal a lot of damage. So just keep that in mind and always use it when you can. And that's pretty much it. That's pretty much most of the kit. You know, most of this kit is basically shooting your arrows when you get low enough HP to get to 60%. Use a skill. Consume your stacks of surplus, get your health back, keep on doing that, and then when you get his burst up, of course, use your burst, preferably in, if you have buffers like I do, like Bennett and Kazuha, do it in their field so you get the maximum amount of damage that you can, especially in the Spiral Abyss, because you're going to need all that damage in the Spiral Abyss, with how hard 412, even 411 can be. Okay, so now I want to talk about the weapons. So this is a very important section. The only weapons I would really highly recommend are crit weapons, and I understand that that's kind of hard for people, especially free-to-play, but I got this bow free-to-play, and I was lucky enough to get it. So I'm using Aqua Simulacra, which is Yolan's weapon, and this is probably the second best weapon you can use on Lyney. Obviously, the first best weapon you can use, the best weapon you can use on Lyney, is his signature weapon, but I wasn't able to get it. So I got Aqua Simulacra, which is the second best you can get. You can get either Yolan or his weapon. So this banner is actually very good for people that want to level him up, because either bow will be good. Even if you get Yolan instead, if you want to get Yolan, either his bow or her bow will be good on either character. So it's honestly a pretty clever banner, because both weapons will work on both of them. So yeah, those two bows would be the best. Aqua Simulacra would be a second best. Obviously his signature would be the best. Now if you don't have any of those and you're willing to spend like $10 on the battle pass, you can get either Scion of the Blazing Sun or the Veritas Hunt. I think you can get both in the Battle Pass still. I'm assuming because they're both here. Scion of the Blazing Sun is the new one. I do believe you get more attack as damage right here. You get more attack, I think. Oh yeah, and then of course your charge attack damage. You'll deal like 28% more charge attack damage. I didn't really read much of that of the passive of the bow. But anyways, I think Scion of the Blazing Sun would be the best for Lyney since he does charge attack damage. Now, Veritas Hunt is still good. The only difference between them is, as far as stats goes, the Veritas Hunt has a little bit less base attack. This has more base attack, but it's 2% less crit rate than the Veritas Hunt. Now, I would go for the Scion of the Blazing Sun for Lyney. So if you don't have either his signature or Yolanda's signature, Aqua Simulacra, I would go for that weapon. Now, if you don't really feel like spending any money at all, and you have weapons like Rust can be good, or if you have Amos Bow, I suppose it could be good on Lyney for the attack percent, and I guess it'd be better than Rust. But free to play, I'm pretty sure everybody has Rust. I'm pretty sure it's a free weapon everybody got. It's been so long since I started playing, I don't remember. But if you have Rust, this can do good as well. Well, actually, thinking about now, this would not really be good on Lyney because it decreases your charge attack damage, which you really need for Lyney. So, yeah, instead of Rust, I would recommend something like even Prototype Crescent would be better, honestly. And stuff like that, even like Venus Warbow for your energy recharge if you want more energy recharge for your burst. Stuff like that is honestly better. But, yeah, sorry for rambling on. Basically, if you can afford it, get either his signature weapon or Yuan's signature weapon. If you can't and you feel like spending $10, get the Battle Pass and get Scion of Blazing Sun. If you don't want to spend anything at all, then you can get Prototype Crescent. That's a pretty good free-to-play weapon. And you can level it up and refine it and everything, make it a lot better than it already is. So the best free-to-play weapon, I would say, is Prototype Crescent. It's better than Rust because you're going to need your charge attacks. So you don't want to decrease your amount of charge attack damage. So that's pretty much it for the bows for Lyney. So now for the artifact sets. So the only set I would really recommend is one of the two new sets that is in this season in Fontaine. That is the Marechaussee Hunter. I think I'm saying that correctly. Marechaussee Hunter. However you say it, whatever. So the two-piece, the normal in charge attack damage is plus 15%. So that's very good already on its own. And then a 4-piece set, when your current HP increases or decreases, so when you lose health or when you gain health, your crit rate will be increased by 12% for 5 seconds, and you have a max of 3 stacks, which I believe, if I'm not correct, I believe, if I'm not mistaken, that each stack you'll get extra crit rate, so you can get up to 36% crit rate, if I'm not mistaken. I could be mistaken, but I'm assuming because you can get 3 stacks, you'll get a max of 36% crit rate, which is pretty insane for crit rate. I mean, to compare that, you get 31% crit rate with your circlet at level 20, a 5-star circlet. So that's about 5% more than the level 20 circlet. So that's pretty insane. Now, I could be wrong about that. Again, I could be wrong. So yeah, the Marechaussee Hunter is the only one that I would recommend for him. Another set that could be okay for him is a Desert Pavilion, but I wouldn't recommend it as much as this. And there's other sets that'll give you, I think, Wanderers or whatever, or something else that'll give you more charge attack damage. But the Marechaussee Hunter is built specifically for Lyney, and honestly, if you don't know what artifact set to use, I've said this before, but go to the test run and test run the character and see what set MiHoYo puts on the characters. And 9 times out of 10, MiHoYo is 100% spot on what the characters are supposed to use. I mean, they made the game, so I'm sure they would know what to put on the characters to make them good. So I would always check what sets they put on these characters to see what set to use. So in the future reference, if you want to know what set to use, just check what MiHoYo has for the test runs. So Marechaussee Hunter is what they use on him, and that's what I would say is the best form. So that's it for the artifact set. So for artifact stats, it's pretty straightforward. It's your basic DPS set, lineup for your artifacts, whatever. So you're gonna be looking for crit rate and crit damage substats in your feather and your flower, along with, if you're able to get an energy recharge for your burst. And then attack percent, 100% on the sands. Nothing else I would recommend. Attack percent is the only thing you should get. And the goblet. Now, if you remember, the second passive talent makes it to where 80% of your attack, you'll attack with your hat malkin or whatever for 80% of your attack. So attack percent is good, but pyro damage bonus is probably just a bit better for your goblet. Now I do have an attack percent goblet here that I was going to use. Now, if you don't have a pyro damage bonus goblet, or if you don't have a good one, then you can use an attack percent until you get a pyro damage bonus goblet. It won't be a massive difference, but there is quite a bit of difference between pyro and attack percent. I would say go for pyro damage if you have it. If you don't, go for attack percent until you get a pyro damage bonus goblet. Really try to get a pyro damage bonus goblet if you can at all possible. And then, of course, crit rate or crit damage on the circlet. And honestly, if you're using this set and you have quite a bit of crit rate already, then you won't really need a crit rate circlet. Like, I could use my crit damage circlet I had here. This is the one I was using originally, because you get the 36% crit rate, again, if I'm not mistaken. So you won't need a ton of crit rate if you have this set on already, the Marechaussee Hunter. It's honestly a pretty dang good set. It's one of the best artifact sets I've seen in a while. So yeah, that's it for stats. Just look for crit rate, crit damage, substats, melee, attack on the sands, pyro on the goblet if you can afford it. If not, attack percent, and then crit rate, crit damage on the circlet. And you can optionally look for some energy recharge substats as well, but mainly focus on crit rate and crit damage, as most of your damage is going to come from the charge shots anyway, and a lot of it will come from your burst, but that's not the main part of your kit. So yeah, that's it for the artifact stats. Okay, real quick, before I move on to the teams and going to the Spiral Abyss for my showcase and everything, I do want to show my stats for Lyney. So here's my stats for my crit rate and crit damage. Now, these are almost exactly identical to the stats that are on the Lyney in the test run. So I'm pretty proud of that. I'm pretty glad. I think it's like the only time I got almost perfect stats compared to the playstyle. If I get him to level 90, I think I'll have even more perfect, because I think it was around 72% crit rate and 152 something percent crit damage in the test run. So yeah, that's my stats for Lyney, and just in case anybody was wondering before I do the showcase and everything. So your party setup, your team comps for Lyney, you're gonna want, like I said earlier, your third or your second passive talent, whichever one it was, you're gonna want to have 3 pyro characters in your team, if at all possible, out of the 4 party members. So you see, I have Lyney, Bennett, Xiangling, and then I have Kazuha as a last flex option. So you can have anybody here. Now, I don't have a ton of pyro characters that aren't like DPSs. Like I have Yanfei, Diluc, Hu Tao, all DPSs. And Xinyan is, well, Xinyan. Amber is garbage. Sorry, but she is, in my opinion anyways. And then Toma is a shielder. You know, any of those characters, Toma could work as well, but honestly, Bennett and Xiangling is a good, perfect fit for the 3 max pyro characters in your team. And then your last one can be anybody you want. I have Kazuha to boost my damage and swirl and everything. You can use Sucrose. You can use Venti. You can use Sayu if you don't have Bennett and you need a healer. You can use anybody like that that can help with your reactions and everything. You can even use a Geo character like Albedo for shields or whatever, or Zhongli for shields. Now, I would not recommend using Xingqiu, as Lyney is based around charge attacks, and unfortunately, charge attacks do not shoot with Xingqiu's bursts. I honestly wish they would, but they don't. As far as I know, they don't shoot with your charge attacks. Yeah, anyways, basically just you're gonna want 2 extra pyro characters along with Lyney to get the max amount of damage, and then your last character will be pretty flex. Like I said, you can have any Animo characters that are supporting rules, any characters that are Geo that are supporting rules like that, like Albedo, Zhongli, like I said, even Goro, people like that. It's pretty chill. The team comes for Lyney. It's pretty much just whatever you want. but try to have 3 Pyro characters, at least 2, at the very least 2, but 3 is really what you want to have, and then the last one can be like a swirling character, whatever you need. So just find out what works best for your team, and as long as you have 3 Pyro characters in your team, you should be doing quite a bit of damage with Lyney. Alright, so now we're on the last section. I'm at the Spiral Abyss, and I'm going to be doing 410. Spiral Abyss recently reset, and 411 is a bit too difficult to do quickly enough to show you. At least with my other team, I need to make my Geo team with Atk better, which I'm working on right now. But I'm going to do 410 because that'll be the quickest and easiest way to show off Lyney. But maybe next time I do another showcase, it'll be 411, 412. 412 is still far too hard for me. For my other team, at least. I need to get my other team better. But anyways, here is the showcase.
Everybody stand back! Hey, yeah. Nice and spicy.
Fallen leaves, adorn my night, one with nature. A round of applause.
Get out of here! Teamwork is true. I'm the frying pan.
The wind knows me. Step right up.
Get out of here! Going in! Eat this!
Let's get this show on the road.
That's gonna hurt.
As one with wind and cloud, one with nature.
Get out of here! Everybody stand back!
Here comes the finale.
Alright, so that's it for the showcase, and that's it for video. Hope everybody enjoyed the showcase and enjoyed the video. I hope it was able to help everyone, okay? I know in the Spiral Abyss, since it's only 410, and my supports are kind of high level, and my main DPS and everything, Lyney is high level and everything, my supports did a lot of the work before I was able to get the Lyney to finish everything off, but hopefully I was able to show the numbers okay. I think I got up to 60,000 damage, and I'm pretty sure he does the most damage out of any of my DPSs, like even more than Scaramouche. Scaramouche only does 30,000 per hit with buffs and everything, with every charge attack he does. I know they're different users, they're different, types of characters. One's a bow user, one's catalyst, but still, he's definitely my best DPS I have now. I've seen people talking about how like Lyney is garbage, and I don't understand it because mine is pretty dang good. It's not the best, but it's pretty dang good. He's a really good DPS, I would say. So yeah, like I said, I hope everybody enjoyed the video. What do you guys think about the new region? What do you guys think of Fontaine and everything, and Lyney? Honestly, I'm loving Fontaine so far. I'm loving the exploring underwater and everything, and the Oculus are not actually that hard to find. The Hydroculus, I actually am enjoying finding them this time. And I think this region has the most Oculus of any of the regions so far still. But I'm having a fun time finding them and just exploring Fontaine. And what about you guys? Are you enjoying Fontaine so far? Let me know down in the comments. And if this video did help you, make sure you subscribe, and I'll see everybody in the next video. Bye.